Hello and welcome all you freaktastic freakers. Welcome. This is Tyler from the Freddie Freaker Fan Club, and today we are going to be taking a look at Freddie Freaker Simulator 2015. Now, for those who don't know, this game was released in 1997 for the Sega Saturn. It was meant to be a system seller for the system, but sadly, many people have overlooked this gem. I mean, as you can clearly see, the gameplay is very varied. It is unique, to say the best. It truly tests the mettle of any person when willing to play it. Not to say that it's bad, but I mean, I'd like to see Dark Souls get this hard. I mean, that's just a baby's toy compared to this game. I mean, what have we seen in video games to top something as good as this? Can't think of any, right? But I digress. I mean, this game was created by a collaboration of Shigeru Miyamoto and Hideo Kojima. It was made as a way to kill Halo, because that was just coming out at the time, and it definitely succeeded. I mean, this has gotten yearly installments. Halo has gotten, like, Halo Wars. That's it. I mean, like, so another big thing we gotta notice as we're continuing on with this level here is, as you can clearly see, Freddie is wiggling. Now, a lot of people are probably wondering, well, that's probably sporadic or, set. Like, it's a set pattern. Well, actually, Freddie is dancing to the exact rhythm of the arrows. This was actually a huge selling point and technological marvel in the time that this game was released. Games had never been able to do this, such a procedurally generated world like this. Furthermore, it goes to show the true love and care that the creators want to throw in this game. I mean, like, what other games from around this time have you seen that gives you this true level of freedom? We see exactly what Freddie is doing at all times, and it puts it at a focal point. I personally think it's very good. So, okay, now we're coming up to the first boss here. The first boss is known to be like the breaking point for most people. If you can't beat the first boss, most people just tend to stop playing the game. It's just too hard for them. So, I gotta say, like, this first boss, you'll see, it's a doozy. Now, as you can see, it's Freddie Freaker. He is wiggling. That is a very powerful move. If you do not dodge that, that is a one-hit kill. That's the main reason why people do not like this boss. But I personally love it. It's a perfect example of what a boss should be. It takes what you learned from the level prior and expands upon it, tests what you've learned. And this, like, look at that. Perfect boss. That was a perfect run. I dropped no frames. It was a frame perfect skip, you know? I mean, honestly, now, again, this may look incredibly easy, like I'm breezing through it, but I have played this game for at least 6 years of my life. That is not 6 years, like, I played it on and off. I have played it for a cumulative total of 6 years. At least since I was 2. It's I've grown up with this game, just like I've grown up with Freddie Freaker, and I know a lot of people have as well. And I know this isn't a, what's the word? Not a very uncommon story, but speaking of story, over this series, we will be going into the very in-depth storyline this has. A lot of people seem to forget that Ernest Hemingway is actually the writer for this. He wrote the original Freddie Freaker story in 1984. And when he wrote it, it was revolutionary. They'd never heard of something being freaky. Like, they've heard of things that can freak you out, but they've never heard of things that are like little freaky things. They've never heard of something that's a little freaky thing that wiggles. That's just absurd. And it went against the Puritan values of the time of the 1980s. Have really turned the culture of the 1980s on its head. I mean, think of it this way. You're at home, you're in your single room log cabin, and your wife's there showing off her ankle to you, and suddenly Freddie Freaker comes on. You're like, I don't want that. Now that Freddie Freaker, I want that Freddie Freaker. It united nations. It is why the United Nations exists. It's solely because of this one game. Based, of course, on the movie Freddie Freaker 1-900-4903. $2 a call. Now, everyone knows that that movie was made first in 1990 as a direct adaptation of the Freddie Freaker novel. It was, how to put it, genre-defying, if not medium-defying. Like, it's what made movies recognized as an art form. Without it, movies would never have been the same. We have never gotten movies like The Wizard of Oz if Freddie Freaker hadn't been made. Like, a lot of people contribute or attribute the tearing down of the Berlin Wall to a lot of things, but honestly, Freddie Freaker has been scientifically proven to be the main cause of the Berlin Wall falling. Now, I know that may seem a bit contradictory to what all you little kids are learning in your history classes, but I assure you, take this to your classes. It is what they teach. It's something you'll learn in college. I learned it in my sociology course. It was great. DeVry University taught me so much about Freddie Freaker. If one of you are going into college and you're listening to this, I suggest go into the freak fields, and that's Freddie, rice, eating, alchemy, and keratin. Those are the main degree fields that you want to go into. One of the freak fields. I know a lot of people say STEM fields where you want to go, but the freak fields, that's where the money is. I have made hundreds of billions of dollars with my Freddie Freaker degree. And honestly, I could not be any happier. In fact, I just bought this new Lamborghini, and one thing I love more of Lamborghini, Freddie Freaker. I mean, that's why I'm doing this. I do it because I love you, the fans. I love this game. I love what Freddie Freaker has done for society as a whole. I honestly cannot thank Freddie Freaker enough for what he has done in my life. I hope and pray that more people know who Freddie Freaker is. I mean, like, what else is there to say? I guarantee you, go up to anyone on the street to say, "Who's Freddie Freaker?" And they'll say, "I don't know who Freddie Freaker is." And that is actually a national crime. That is treason. If someone says they don't know who Freddie Freaker is, you have full rights to kill them. It's simple knowledge. I mean, a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that fact, but it's something that needs to be acknowledged because we need to get the non-freaksters out of the United States. They are what's ruining the American values set forth by Ernest Hemingway in the original Freddie Freaker novel. Like, that's what defined a generation, and we should let it define our generation as well. Furthermore, I believe that the absence of Freddie Freaker in modern day media is actually a travesty, and it goes to show that Japanese anime is actually the Antichrist, because it's the main competitor to Freddie Freaker, as we all know. It's what's kept Freddie Freaker from attaining worldwide popularity to the point where you go to some isolated Amazonian tribe and say, "Who's Freddie Freaker?" They'll say, "Oh, wiggle, 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 wiggle man." That's how they speak. And that's all the English they'll know. They will know Freddie Freaker is the wiggle, wiggle, wiggle man. They will know that, and honestly, that is the future I want for my kids. When my kids come into this world, and when they grow up, I want them to live in a world where they can go to school freely and not have to fear about being discriminated against because they're little freaksters. I want my little freaksters to go to school and not have to worry about some little Asian boy going like, "Oh, you freakster! Oh, freak wiggle for me!" I don't want them doing that. That will ruin my kid's life. I don't want that for him. I want my little freaksters to go to a proper freak school where they can learn all about freakology. I don't want them learning some BS methods about calculus. They need to learn freakology if they ever want to succeed in this world. And if they don't, then they're going to be set behind years. The universities will have to teach them with the freakology courses, where, as opposed to say India, where they're teaching freakology from day one. And because of that, they're getting some of the best freakologists ever recorded, just because they're teaching them so early. And this is why I feel like Obama has failed as a president. He has taken Freddie Freaker out of the schools and replaced it with science and mathematics, some new hippy-dippy concepts made in the past 5 years by some douchey liberal in the middle of San Francisco sipping on their coffee going "I'd love me some minions. I can't wait to kill Freddie Freaker," and I don't know, they're just terrible people, and I hope they die in a hole, because they aren't Freddie Freaksters. Who in their right mind would not say, "I'm a Freddie Freakster"? No one would. In fact, I believe that the people who say they aren't Freakster are actually reptilian overlords. They are the reptilian overlords of our planet for the sole reason that their species is actually incapable of learning about Freddie. It is actually, as we all know, the main function of the medulla oblongata is to process freaky things, and they don't have that. Because of that, the freaky things of Freddie Freaker, it just doesn't happen. They can't comprehend it. They don't know what a freakster is. They can't actually in any way understand what Freddie Freaker does for them. And as such, they choose to deny his existence. I got off on a big tangent, but we're almost done with the first world here. Before we go sign off for the day, I gotta say, remember to like us on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter, Freddie Freaker Fan Club, hit us up on Instagram, Snapchat, make sure to donate to our Patreon. That'll be that. Stay freaky.